All right, I think it's live. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Chelsea Bellinger with Dynamic Sports Trading. I am the director of adult fitness. So basically today I just kind of want to chat with you guys about some tips and some to help you achieve a healthy lifestyle. With it being the 18, people have resolutions that revolve around health and fitness. And unfortunately, around the 3-month mark of the new year, people tend to fall off of their goals and the resolutions because they start to feel overwhelmed, or they're not really sure that they're seeing the results that they want. And it's suspicious next month or the next month, and then, I'll start in the new year. So to help kind of alleviate some of that, I hope I can provide you guys with some good tips and tools to help you find that healthy lifestyle in this new year. So like I mentioned before, a lot of often they can chew when it comes to setting goals. So obviously there is that overall goal of achieving better lifestyle or losing weight or fixing your eating habits, and that's the big goal. But I think a lot of people miss is that there have mini goals within that, and landmarks that you can achieve before you can get the big goal. So with that, you have to allow yourself room to make mistakes. You can't beat yourself up if you fall off, to know how to get back into it. And a lot of people also don't see results fast enough. And so they see that as, it's not working, or they view it as a chore at that moment. And so then that kind of discourages them and they tend to fall off. So with not seeing results fast enough, I think the biggest thing is knowing where to start and building from that foundation. So understand root and what your foundation is for your bigger goal. So for example, if your goal is to get fit in 2018, what people tend to do first is, okay, I'm going to get a gym membership, or I'm going to start taking these classes, higher. All great. That's something that we need in our society, because physical activity is on the decline in our society, unfortunately. So I think that's great. But as unfortunate as it is, I think a lot of people know this, but they don't want to really admit it. Bad. And so a lot of people, they want to start in the gym and they work their butts off in the gym, and they're in there 5 days a week, and they leave and they feel great, but then they don't see the results that they want. And a lot of that tends to happen with awesome training as well. And that's what's really going to help achieve those results. And so I like to tell people, start from the ground up with your goals. Everything doesn't have to happen all at once. You don't have to meet your 12-month goal within the first week of the new year. Take it month by month. Focus on something different every month, and then within that, focus on something different every week. What I love about Mondays is that's a fresh start. You can start focusing on one thing a week. And so something that might help you is using that first month that you really engage yourself in reaching your goals to focus on revamping nutrition or your eating. And so maybe within that first week, you focus on breakfast, for example. So a lot of us, we think we're just too busy. In the morning, either you wake up and you feel like you're not hungry, you don't want to eat, or you run out of time, you're trying to, for the parents, get your kids ready for school, and you get off to work. So you neglect breakfast sometimes. And there are many debates about whether or not breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Some people say, you need it. Some people say you don't need it. There's so many studies out there debating that. But for me personally, I think that eating breakfast and eating a wholesome, healthy breakfast helps set the tone for the rest of your day. So it's not necessarily it's more of a mental thing for you for the rest of the day. So if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't have time for breakfast, I'm just going to stop and grab a donut and coffee, that sets a tone for the rest of the day. So the rest of the day, you're not focused on getting something wholesome. You know, you're focused on that convenience factor and that sort of thing. So if you make it a point to have a wholesome, nutritious breakfast, that can set the tone for the rest of the day with your eating. You're going to want to focus on that, and you're going to make better choices because you've started off your day wanting to make those good choices. And so maybe nail it down once you're able to really focus on breakfast, maybe focus on the rest of the day, meal prepping. That's something that I get a lot of questions about. How do I go about meal prepping? I don't have the time. I don't know what to make. And I hate eating the same thing throughout the week, which is, all of those are totally understandable reasons why people meal prepping. But as being time consuming, yes. So I set aside about 2.5 hours on Sundays to meal prep. Sundays are typically my meal prep days. Sometimes it's Saturday, but I like to try to keep it to Sunday. And I set aside about 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'm in the kitchen the whole time and I'm prepping food and all that stuff. If I put into account how much time I'm saving throughout the week because I'm spending that 2.5 hours on that one day, to me, it's worth it. For those who have busy jobs and, you know, you're running around to point A and point B, that sort of thing, imagine how much time you can save making your meals for your family or for yourself ahead of time. You may feel like you're spending a lot of time on one day, but as the week progresses, you're not having to worry about your meals. Everything is already done. You pop it in the oven or in the microwave and you're ready to go. And as far as finding like the right thing, I think that sticking with staple ingredients such as your quinoa, your rice, maybe your potatoes, beans, have those staple ingredients and then be able to build off of that. So maybe switch up every day what your veggie or your protein is going to be, but you have those staple things and then you can just do that. It doesn't have to be anything super complicated. A lot of this is also just focusing on those wholesome foods. So making sure you're eating your dark green leafy greens to get your micronutrients, and then really focusing on where you're getting your macronutrients. I could go so into depth about your macronutrients and that sort of thing, but just in general, it's very important to be able to vary your food choices. I know that firsthand. I'm the type of person who I can eat the same thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and have no issue with it. But at some point, you are going to get burnt out on it. And so knowing how to switch it up without making it too complicated for yourself is important. And also people sometimes think that meal prep can be costly, but really it's saving you a lot of money. If you're typically one who eats out during the week because you don't have the time, or at work, let me run to this cafe or to this restaurant to grab lunch really quick, that adds up quite a bit. And just to put it into perspective, so for during the week, granted, I have my own ways of saving money on shopping. I typically do a lot of my grocery shopping at Aldi's. I can get a lot of bulk there. And so at max, and this is for, I meal prep for myself, and also I help my boyfriend meal prep as well. And so we buy groceries together, and we don't spend more than typically $50 a week. And that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for an entire week. That can be racked up within a few days if you're constantly having to eat out because you have to go for that convenience factor and go to a restaurant and get food. So, and then also meal prep materials such as like your containers to hold your food, like a food scale, any type of tool you need to help make the process quicker, like a chopper or veggie spiralizer, anything like that. There's a lot of good deals that you can find on Amazon. I don't know what I did before I had Amazon Prime. Like, it has saved my life a couple of times. And so if you search meal prep containers, usually you'll be able to find a lot of distributors on Amazon, really cheap, and usable. And then if you like to store food just in general in your fridge without making it into individual meals, they have, and I can share the link a little bit later, but there is one that I bought. It's like a 50-piece glass set, and they are durable. They don't break, like it's tempered glass, it's microwave washer safe, everything, and they have lasted me. I've had it for a little over a year now, and they're still in great condition, and they were not expensive by any means. So really costs can be cut in those ways. You don't need all these fancy, super expensive tools. And a food scale, which is very important in meal prep, to know exactly how to yourself. Mine for $9 off of Amazon, and it hasn't given me any issues. And I can share the link for that as well. But what I do is I literally put my food container on my scale, and I start with my carbs, and I'm a vegetarian, so my protein options are probably a little bit different than some of yours, but and then I add and then my veggies, and I zero it out every time I'm adding something new, so I know exactly what I'm doing, and it's really quick and easy. It doesn't take a lot of time to do that. So, and as far as people who don't like to eat microwave food, to have their food fresh, at least maybe prep the food ahead of time. So maybe it's cutting the veggies or marinating your protein, or like having your protein trimmed and ready to cook. If you can do that ahead of time, that can save you time in the long run. Because a lot of us, we look for, that's why a lot of people tend to eat out and whatever. They're like, oh, I don't have time to cook tonight. I'm just going to go grab takeout for the family. And as good as that may sound in that moment, that it's convenient, if you have everything ready to go at home and all you have to do is throw it on the stove or throw it in the crock pot or whatever the case may be, it really benefit you getting in your food, and you can save time. You can find those ways to save time. So maybe just spend a week trying to figure out how you can make meal prep work for you. What works for one person isn't always going to work for someone else. So maybe days aren't the best day for you to do meal prep. So maybe you play with those different days and see what works for you. Don't be afraid to try different things and be able to find your perfect solution for meal prep. And so then on the next week, maybe focus on finding alternatives for what you may crave. So people who like salty, there are a lot of people out there who like chips and they like the saltiness. So there are a lot of alternatives to those high-fat, highly processed chips. I have a really great recipe that it's wonton wrappers that you can get in the produce section of the grocery store. Like diagonally, put some olive oil, some salt and pepper on there, pop it in the oven for about 6 seconds, and you have crisp chips that you can eat with hummus or salsa. And it's not the highly processed tortilla chips or anything like that. You know exactly what you're eating. You control how much salt or pepper, whatever you put on there. I think that's much better than not knowing what's in your food. And as far as sweet and anything like that goes, there are so many great recipes out there now. I scour and even Facebook, Delish and BuzzFeed Foods. They post videos all the time of healthy alternatives to foods. I save those videos, and I have an entire folder of recipes that eventually I'm going to get around to trying. And so maybe doing something like that and finding your recipes or something that you may like. And on our page, I like to share maybe some recipes that I've tried or easy recipes like that. A lot of these recipes are not super complicated, and they keep well, and they're things that you can take with you throughout the day. So if you are having a craving or you're needing a snack, instead of going towards an unhealthy option, you have those healthy options out there. And so that last week of that month, focus on putting all of those things together, finding consistency in your eating, seeing if you can go 2 weeks and meal prep and you're able to find what works for you. Don't feel like you have to have everything perfect right away. Be patient with yourself and try different things, see what's going to help you. And then in that second month, maybe focus on your training. That's the other thing is people like to find, it's easy to find excuses as to why you can't go work out. And that's okay, because you don't need to beat yourself about that, but you need to feel like you have to go 5 days a week, because then if you're not able to go 2 out of those 5 days, you feel discouraged, or you feel like, oh, I failed, so now it's going to take me a while to get back on it. Focus on, I'm going to try to go to the gym 2 times this week, and then go up to 3 times. You need to do everything all at once, and figure out if you're more of a morning person or an evening person. Can you work out before work and shower and all that stuff? Or is it better for you to wait until the evening to do it? Do you do it during your lunch break? Do you have somewhere to go? Figure out what works best for you. And then also maybe try different training styles. Do you like being in the weight room, or do you like that class environment when you're with other people, maybe during a boot camp or like a spin class or something like that? Do you like those quick, high intensity interval training sessions that really get your heart pumping and in a short amount of time? Do you like working out with a workout partner, or are you more of a solo type person who you like to go in the gym and do your thing? So just figure out what training style, what works best for you, and track how you're feeling after you try different things. After you do a group class, you feel great and you feel that community vibe and you like that, then remember that that's how you feel when you do that. If you're in the weight room and you're not really sure like how you feel about that, know that that's how you feel. Don't feel pressured to do one thing because you think that's all you can do. Training, like I said, for all of what works for one person isn't always going to work for the next person. So if you like to be in the comfort of your own home and do home workouts and that sort of thing, that's totally fine. The biggest thing is do something, move. I don't think that it has to be one thing specifically all the time. And then from there on, work on consistency. If you tell yourself that I can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, even if you tend to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Wednesday you can't make it to the gym that day, try to do something. So whether it's doing a 10-minute workout before you go to work, or finding time in the middle of the day, taking a break from working and doing 10 squats. I mean, whatever it is, do something and move just to keep that consistency within you. That'll help make sure that you can stay on track with that. And things are always going to come up. Whether it's an emergency, if and you're not able to do your typical workout routine, or maybe you have a trip coming up and you know that it's going to push back what you're able to do, or you have a really busy week coming up. Just plan for that and be easy on yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you do some days, but know how to get back on track. Know that that's going to happen, that things like that come up, but know that you can get back on track to where you were. It doesn't have to mean you fall off and then you wait a couple weeks and then you try to get back on track. That's just a snowball effect, and it's a downward spiral, and that's and if you need someone who's going to help keep you accountable and hold you accountable, I'm always there. I will text you and see how your workout's doing. If you track your macros and you need someone to send them to you, screenshot them, send them just to make sure you're staying on track, I am totally doing that. Ability is more likely to stick to those goals because you've put that out into the world now. And so then you have people who can hold you accountable to that. If you like to write your goals down and put it somewhere where you see it, that's another great thing. I keep sticky notes of just about anywhere that'll remind me about certain things that I'm trying to focus on for that week or for that month. And I think that can really, seeing that every single day can really help you want to achieve that goal. And, being able to put your fitness and nutrition together, you have to listen to your body. You have to know what your body's trying to tell you. If one day you're feeling really tired and you realize maybe you didn't drink enough water or maybe you didn't eat enough, listen to your body, and you know your body best. And another thing too is don't wear yourself out, because then that's when fitness and nutrition becomes a chore rather than something that you're working towards to achieve a healthy life. A lot of times you'll be so tired and you're out today. Take a moment, sleep a little bit more, or do something that's relaxing to you, because obviously your body is craving that if you're feeling that. Don't second guess what your body's trying to tell you. And so don't feel, and this goes back to, don't up if you decide you need to take a day off. You need to for you always. And that's part of having a healthy lifestyle, is a healthy mind, body, spirit, everything. So it doesn't all just have to be physical. If you're feeling stressed out, and if you know that going for a run helps relieve some of your stress, or working out or doing relieve that, don't neglect any part of this healthy lifestyle, because that's when things start to stray away from the main goal, is having a healthier life. And so if you focus too much on if it affects your relationships or anything like that, it's not worth it, because then it's really contradicting the whole point of what you're doing. So yeah, don't let things ruin your progress. Just be patient with yourself and understand that this is truly a process, and trust the process as well. If you
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri just wanted to pop in here today. So yeah, I don't even know what I was saying right before that, but just be patient with yourself, trust the process. Even if you don't see results right away, trust that what you're doing is good for you. And if you have any questions, or you aren't sure of something that you're doing, please contact me. I would love to help you individually and that sort of thing. Like I said, not everything is going to work for everyone. So you individually, and what you can do and what works best for you. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, just please don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more about it. So awesome. Have a wonderful Monday. Bye.